Hey everybody, it's your old pal Uncle Ron coming to you today from a truck. That's right, a truck. Um, I got a bit of an announcement to make, a small announcement. No more weekly episodes. I just found it too hard to try and get things going. So what I'm going to be doing is little reviews here and there. Also on my Substack is where a lot of the reviews are going to go, which is substack.com/@ I'm Uncle Ron. But mainly I'm going to be doing specials, like the special that I'm doing today. It's Uncle Ron's Malum special. I am talking to Natalie Victoria and Anthony DiBlasi. He's the writer and co-writer and director of the film, and she's one of the amazing performers in it. We talk about Malum and how it's a remake of Last Shift and all sorts of cool stuff. So, so stick around. We're going to be talking with them in just a second, and I'll see you afterwards. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming back. And Anthony and Natalie, thank you so much for being here. Natalie, first, before we get going, I'm glad you're doing much better than you were.
Thank you.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Although I don't think you were healed 100% if you agreed to come back on this show.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Yep, exactly. That's why I would have been like, look, you might want to, no, that's not a good idea. But Anthony, this is your first time. I'll be gentle.
All right, I can handle it.
Okay. So I guess I gotta ask first thing off the bat is you made Last Shift, and with some notable differences, especially how made up Natalie was in the movies. Because in Malum, she's just like, wow, holy crap. And then in Last Shift, not so much. Why remake your own movie? This short of a time span, I guess, in between, because it's not even been 10 years, right?
Yeah, under 10 years. You know, the Welcome Villain guys, Luke LeBeau over there, I was introduced to him and they had just started the company, and he kind of approached me and said, hey, what do you think about playing in the Last Shift world again? We felt like it had a nice fan base. But the thing with Last Shift is I always wanted to get it to a wider audience. And the Welcome Villain guys all came from marketing, and they had a really cool plan. And, Scott and we always talked about doing maybe a prequel or a sequel, but we just never wrote it. And this was kind of a perfect opportunity to do what we couldn't do on that film because of budget restraints, and we could play in a bigger sandbox now and kind of dive deeper into the mythology, which is something I was really interested in. So it just seemed like a good thing to try, regardless if the first movie is always going to be there for people who like it, but now we have something that I feel like is more representative of what we originally wanted to do.
When you brought people on after you cast them, did you have them watch Last Shift to kind of get a feel for what you were going for, so you didn't have to direct that much?
No, I asked,
just do this.
Yeah. And like Jess Sula, she had not seen the first film. So in our first conversation, I asked her not to watch it.
Yeah.
And she still hasn't watched it. So
which is perfect.
Yeah. Natalie had seen the first film, obviously.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. That would have been a little awkward.
But it was easier to not have that for the people who hadn't seen the first one, to not have that baggage coming in, so they weren't trying to mimic another performance of something else.
Right. I know you went. It's almost like Malum went a little bit darker too, like with the pig squealing on the phone and the stuff like that got way more disturbing. Because there's a lot of changes. Like the ending, especially, is different.
Yeah,
in big ways. So I got to ask, without giving anything away, are there plans for a sequel? Because you kind of leave it open.
I mean, yeah, yes, for sure. If fans want a sequel, then maybe we'll do one. I think we wanted to be able to, if we were going to do a sequel, continue that conversation with the Malum flock and where that would go. So for sure, we were like, let's set these guys up. And also a reason why we called it Malum. So the focus was more on the flock of the low god and the mythology, and not just this one night in this police station.
Right. And the bags over the head always creep me out. I don't know what it is. There's two things in the world that scare the shit out of me, and it's World War I gas masks and people with bags over their heads. Because I think Jason Voorhees was scariest in part 2. when he had the
I
bag over
agree.
his head.
Yep.
You know, Town That Dreaded Sundowns, like, oh God, you know, that was really some terrifying shit. So I gotta ask though, when it came down to writing the script for Malum, like obviously there's some big differences. Like, this isn't much of a spoiler, but you actually make it inside the police station this time, as opposed to previously. Like, no, just stand outside. You don't need to. No, you don't need to be on a set. I mean, why would we want that? Were there a lot of differences that you wanted to like go at with the characters? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, no, for sure. With mine
Yeah.
particularly, you know, I always think, you know, it's like 50% writing, 50% acting. So the writing was definitely there. I mean, Anthony wrote a really great kind of reimagined for Marigold. And then, you know, I wanted to approach it differently because, you know, in the event people had seen Last Shift, watching Malum would be like watching a completely different movie. And that's the way we approached it, was as if it was a different movie entirely. I approached it as a different character entirely, you know, tried to give her a little bit more agency, a little bit more danger. She was much more, I think, more vulnerable in the first one. And this one, she's just a little unhinged. And there's a lot more elevated danger with that. And so, you know, we kind of played with that a lot more.
Well,
So,
I would love to see what she talked about, what she did. You know, you don't really get too deep into that. I would love to see a Marigold spinoff and just be kind of like watch her doing what she said she did.
Yeah.
That would be kind of like, oh, she's the cheese is slid off of her cracker, but what she's doing is okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine.
exactly.
Yeah. It's wow, it's just
It was a lot of fun too, because I mean, physically, you know, we changed the look and feel quite a bit. You know, my goal is always to disappear into every role so people don't know it's me until they look it up on IMDb or Google or whatever.
right.
And so there was a lot of fun with that, you know, and then you know, obviously the set too added a lot. You know, it was a completely different cast. So that was really cool. You got to work with new actors. But the set itself also had a lot of history. It was an abandoned police station in Louisville, Kentucky. And it just was really gorgeous in the sense that the architecture was from like the 1940s kind of style, but you could tell it had history because there was actually real blood on the walls and, you know, real black mold that, you know, the crew had to come in, the art, you know, crew had to come in and clean all that up and then put fake stuff up.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you could tell
suck it up. It worked for the people on Day of the Dead. It can work for you guys. And
Exactly.
they were in a tunnel, for crying out loud.
Yeah. But there was like a rich history and feeling, you know, that kind of added to your performance.
Right.
And added to that eeriness of being in that place. And so yeah, that definitely added to it. But
you were able to play more with the backstory of Hello Cat. You were able to play more with the backstory of the main character. I don't want to give too much away. And then you were in the first one. And I'm just wondering was that something that you had always wanted to do, or is that something you and Scott came up with when you were writing the script for Malum, or is it always in the back of your head, like, this is what I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it because of budget constraints?
I think on the new one, I mean, with the flock in particular, it was very much, we wanted to do something that wasn't inherently something people had seen before. We wanted to take more of a Lovecraft approach where we're making up our own mythology, we're making up our own terminology. So it's not this inherently, you know, devil worshiping cult or anything like that.
Right.
And then with Jessica Lauren, it was mainly the approach to the new material. It was kind of like, well, how do we change the whole drive of the movie? And I think with the main character, with Jessica, giving her this mystery to solve and something, in the first movie, she's somewhere that she's there because she's trying to honor her father's memory, but she's just a girl in the wrong place at the wrong time. This one, she wants to be there. She's there for a very specific reason. She's there to fulfill something. She's there to figure something out about her father's past. And all kind of comes together, you know, like a bad day of fate, really.
Yeah. And there's a question I have to ask off the air because boy, howdy, I can't, it would be a big spoiler. But it's it's very isolating. Now, did you guys film this during COVID or right near the end of COVID?
No, we just filmed this past summer.
Oh, was it this past summer? Okay. But before the Who said, we're fine, everyone. We're fine.
Yeah, we definitely had we started in July of 2022. And there's definitely COVID restraints
Right.
still, mainly with SAG stuff. And
There
Yeah,
was
because
a-
the reason I asked is because it's very, and I'm sure this is intentional for the movie, but it just kind of added to it, like the isolation that she has to deal with, you know, where her co-stars are basically a pig and a guy who can't control his bladder.
yeah.
You know, so I mean that's what it is. But what do you have coming up next, both of you?
Well, we're on strike right now.
Yes.
Right, yes,
Right. We're on the Writers Guild strike right now. So we're spending that time.
And we support the writers here, damn it, because I want to be in the guild one day once I have $2,500 and an agent.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there's we're supporting that, and then we're just developing some stuff and trying to take this time to flush out a few horror projects, and we have a thriller that we finished before the strike that is going to make the rounds once we're done with the WGA stuff.
Nice.
So
Well,
and that was kind of, just starting to go, and then we had the strike. So, and it is potentially looking like SAG may strike at the end of June. So we might be in this
He's got a strike for that too.
Yeah. So we'll both be on the picket lines, but hopefully that stuff can get resolved soon, fairly for all the parties involved, and we can get back to working soon. But in the meantime, it's kind of a weird situation. We're in a pause. We have a lot of completed scripts together that we've written, and then as Anthony said, like we're trying to flesh out some early ideas for some other stuff, but nothing too intense because we're on this pause. But yeah.
Right. It's I got a friend who is on the picket line, and he wrote for Supernatural, and now he does comic books and stuff. And it's hilarious who he told me he heard the big holdout is, but we can talk about that off the air because we don't. Let's not get into BS. But you can find Malum on VOD right now on any is that Vudu, Amazon, the whole thing.
Yeah, iTunes, Vudu, Amazon.
All on stream. You can access it everywhere. And it's been doing really great. It's in the top 5 horror, right up with Evil Dead and some other big, studio projects. So we're real happy about it. I know Welcome Villain's really excited.
Well, that's awesome. Are you guys planning a big Blu-ray release with any kind of all the bonus features and stuff too?
Yeah, we have physical media will be like late June. So we'll like DVD, Blu-ray, and then the score's out now, and then Waxwork Records is releasing the album. So keep an eye out.
I am a fan of Waxworks. I loved it when they put out the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack. That was, oh my God. That was one of those things like, do I eat or do I buy this?
Yeah, buy the album.
I'm going to buy the album. Yeah, I'm going to buy the album. I'm going to buy the album. That's it. So, but I want to thank you all so much for being here, and it's been a blast. And check out Malum on VOD today, like right now. We're done. Right, you can go watch the movie. It's like 90 minutes. It's like the perfect length for a horror movie. Which is what was last shipped, hour 27, I think. Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to realize nowadays is horror needs to be 90 minutes. I love you, Ari Aster, but please, no more 3-hour epics. Come on. But I want to thank you all. Thank you both. All like if there's you got 8 people. Well, you do have that poster behind you, and who knows how many of the flock are in it.
Our cats are here too.
Our cats.
Yeah, and the cats. Well, all right. Go give them a pet from their Uncle Ron. And everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. I'm still coming to you from the truck. So, that was a lot of fun. Be sure to check out Malum on VOD right now. And don't forget to follow all the links in the description. To follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And subscribe to my Substack. It's free. And you get stuff. But there's a pay option if you're looking to support. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see what happens with the next one. So just follow me on social media, follow my Substack for any kind of updates, and we'll see you on the next one.